The heat has been unforgiving in the past few weeks. And it's just really tough for people, particularly struggling with power supply, struggling with the environmental issues. So it's just making a bad situation worse. So on the show this morning, we want to talk about that heat wave, the heat stroke, call it whatever, but that heat that you're feeling that makes you shower countless times daily, that keeps you hydrated, keeps you stressed. How do we handle this situation? Well, as you can see, we're joined by Dr. Leah Ajayi, who's a specialist acute medicine and stroke, co-founder and administrative lead at the ACE Academy, joining us from the United Kingdom. Good morning, Dr. Ajayi. Welcome to the Morning Brief.
Hello, good morning. Thank you for inviting me on board.
You know, I was looking at the temperature in the UK or the weather, and I just wish I could channel a vent from your side and just channel it here to Lagos. Because even though you are below 10 or thereabout, it's still much better than the almost 40 that people are experiencing here. So we just wanted to balance the conversation as a health professional first, and maybe you can let some cool air blow into Nigeria. How should people prepare, or rather handle, the heat, the excessive heat that they're experiencing right now?
Right now. Thank you so much for inviting me on board. I mean, this is a very crucial topic considering, you know, the impact and even how very high it can have on the body. I will just start with an overview. So you have the normal body temperature to be between 36.5 to 37.5 degrees centigrade. But by the time you get into heat stroke, you're having temperatures above 40 degrees and above. So you can imagine how the body is trying to adapt to that. So heat stroke, you have it when you have very, very high temperature in the excess of 40 degrees and above, and there's no way the body itself can auto-regulate or auto-cool itself. So there are a lot of factors, for instance, in Nigeria that really predisposes to heat stroke. So for instance, there's high humidity, so like the amount of water vapor in the air, and the way the body auto-regulate. For instance, you have by evaporation, where you have very hot sweat trying to evaporated into the atmosphere, but because the humidity is very high, it can't happen. So that mechanism is really out of it. You also have radiation, where heat is trying to move from a very hot area to a lot cooler area, but because in Nigeria of the very high humidity, because that mechanism definitely does not work. Obviously, you know that with the air, with power supply, that also affects how people can try to cool themselves. So I mean, some of the things that heat stroke can really cause. So for instance, when temperatures are beyond what the body can auto-regulate, people can start experiencing like their heart racing fast. They can start experiencing dizziness. People even pass out. And you also have that not even just in areas where the temperature is so high. So when people go for like marathon, when people exercise a lot, and then they bring up their body core temperature, that can happen as well. However, there's some mechanisms people can adapt to just help them reduce dose rates. So for instance, it's very important to stay hydrated. So I know that some people, you might forget, oh, it's very busy not to drink water. There's some, water bottles, there's some water coolers that have marks and tells you, have you had a drink today? You can even set reminder really, or have some marks saying by 11 a.m. you should have drank this amount of water to stay hydrated, because you want to take much more water than you take normally to compensate for that loss. Also trying to use handheld cooling fans. So there are a lot of all these portable fans that can be battery powered, or you can charge it in advance. Very important. It's also very important to avoid getting in the sun in the peak time. So usually to be between 12 and 3 p.m. To try and avoid it as much as possible, or even use umbrellas so that you're not under the direct sun exposure. Also for people that have underlying health condition, it's also very important, because that means they are much more susceptible to that. So like people with high blood pressure, people with diabetes, because they're already trying to manage their blood sugar. On top of that, very excessive, or people that have like underlying cancer or treatment for cancer, their immune system is already low, and they have to take extra precaution. So I would say the mechanism is to stay hydrated, very important. If you're feeling any sign of feeling unwell, you're feeling dizzy, you're feeling tired, your heart is racing fast, I just
Dr. Ajayi, if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, my apologies. So I know you started it already, but let's stay on it and expatiate. That has to do with who is mostly at risk when it comes to heat stroke. Let's break down those categories of people so they know themselves, and you can now put your panacea to that effect.
Yeah. No, for people that are most at risk of heat stroke, I would say number one, everybody. However, some people are more at risk than the other. So, for instance, you have the elderly people; they are more at risk of that because obviously the way their body try to just regulate things is different from younger people. People with underlying health conditions. So, if you have like hypertension, diabetes, people with underlying cancer, having treatment, and all of that, they are at risk. Also, people that are in direct sunlight. So, you have the traders or people that their jobs require them to stay in direct sunlight all the time. They are most at risk. People that are not eating well, with malnutrition, with inflation costs, some people might be trying to ration meals, so the body cannot really withstand, the stress, additional stress of the heat stroke. So I would say those are the most categories, but generally everybody is at risk because even you have elderly people going for marathon just for going for exercise, and they actually have heat stroke and they pass out. So everybody really, but those category of people are more at risk.
So what are the possible health related issues that may arise from this as well? Because I imagine that the hospitals might be seeing more patients, but what are the things to look out for and what are the conditions now that may be exacerbated?
Yeah, so things to look out for will be if you feel like you really, you feel your heart is racing fast. So by the time the body temperature is getting above 40 degrees centigrade and above, your body starts responding certain way. So it might be dizziness, might just be sweating profusely. People will get like lightheaded. They'll feel like they want to pass out. Some people can start feeling sick, not just feeling all right. And before you know it, some people actually pass out. And by the time you pass out, obviously that has a lot of implications because at that time, blood flow to the vital body organs are actually tampered with or interfered with. And it just means that if the necessary intervention is not put in place on time, some people can actually pass out for quite a long time because of that. And of course, people might not know what's happening. So chest pain, if you feel really sick, you feel your heart racing fast, you feel dizzy or lighted or just really unwell, then obviously those are some of the signs to watch out for.
So when it happens, when it eventually happens, God forbid, what are the first precautionary measures? What are the first, for first responders, what should they do?
Yeah. So obviously, because this is a topic everyone should be aware of, and particularly with the temperature, everyone should be aware that when people pass out, so the first thing is to make sure the person is safe. When people fall, obviously they don't know what's around. Try to clear the area of any dangerous substance. Try to expose them as much as possible. People are wearing 2-3 layers of clothing. Try to remove that. You should get like warm water or cold water. If you have like very cold water around, just pour it on the person because you want to cool down that temperature. Pour cold water on the person. Ensure that you've treated the person. There's no wound. There's no place the person is bleeding, because by the time people pass out, they might have injuries and might start bleeding, and of course that will even make them more dehydrated. So you want to pour water on them and really cool them and call for the nearest help, to the nearest hospital as much as possible, because most times these people need to be started on intravenous fluid just to allow their body the body temperature to cool down. But I think for first responders, it would be to identify that this person is really unwell, and we want to expose you as much as possible. We want to pour cool water on you as much as possible and make sure you're not bleeding or no obvious injury, and call for help. Yeah.
So maybe this would be a very good time to learn how other climes handle heat waves or heat strokes or excessive heat generally. I know in some climes when you have that heat, they find a way to cool the air. It costs a lot, right? But they just find a way to make life easy. Some others just try to put water points in public places so people can easily get hydrated. So in the Nigerian situation, right, what are some of the policies, interventions I think can help at this time?
Yeah. So, for instance, in the United Kingdom, even at work, we have the period where it's really warm. And what they do is we have water cooling station in each workplace. So you have where they write it like, make sure have you taken your water break today? Even in the toilet, they're like reminders to say, have you had enough water? This is 11 a.m. How much water have you had to drink today? Especially when it's during the hot period, also in our site. So in Nigeria, I think some of the things people can do, for instance, in the workplace, is to have water stations, so that water stations are positioned in places where people can really see them. Where there's daily reminders or regular reminders to say people, you know, everyone, you need to look after yourself. Make sure you have regular water breaks is very important. Sometimes, like in ourselves, they have free like ice creams and all of that, so that people can just really, you know, be encouraged and motivated to take things that will cool them. So that's what some workplaces can adapt. Obviously, in the public places, about raising awareness, making sure, you know, people know that, you know, you have to drink water, you have to buy water. Obviously, with inflation, the government can look into try to subsidizing and trying to maybe position some water, some safe drinking water posts, so that, you know, people know that, okay, I can just go there and drink water, and of course to make sure that it's clean water. You can set reminders on your phone. You can get some water coolers or some water containers that have these marks. And just say by 11 a.m. you should have drunk this water, 2 p.m. you should have drunk this water.
Right.
And just be a more conscious effort towards making sure everyone is staying hydrated. Try to time your movements,
There you go.
So that it doesn't fall during the peak time. Yeah.
There you go. Dr. Leah Jai. Honestly, ice cream wouldn't be a bad idea right
Yeah.
now that you mention it. Maybe
Yeah,
another
yeah.
day we should talk about the negative impact of man's activities on the environment as well. But important conversation we've had. Thank you for the pointers. We've been speaking with Dr. Leah Ajayi, who's a specialist in acute medicine and stroke. Thank you for your time and have a great day at work.
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks.
So there you have it. Please, let's pay attention. It's very important. But we'll take a quick break now. When we return, we'll switch gears to the business side of things. We have some inspiration coming up for you in a moment. Stay with us.